Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. So we're here working on the Huracan, and you guys know that we've been working on this thing steadily to try and get it ready for drag racing. So, I went to SEMA, did a great job at SEMA, but getting it race prepped is a whole nother story. And that's what we're working on today, and I can't wait to show you all the progress that we've done. Stay tuned. So today's episode format's gonna be a little bit different because we've been working on this for the last maybe a month, like trying to do it, and we've been doing it in the background. So we wanted to film everything, we wanted to show you guys everything that's part of B is for Build. We don't hide anything, we don't do any tricks behind the scenes. We wanna show you the progress that we've done along the way. But it's happened over a really long period of time. A lot of time working while a lot of times me and Kyle have been working on other projects, and Oscar has been working on this in the background. So I want to update you on everything that we've done on this build and walk you through it and show you how it was done. So with all that footage, Oscar got the engine reinstalled, the air-to-water intercooler back reinstalled. This is all stuff that you've seen a lot of times before. The big changes that were made is, in the last time we had the transmission in this car, it had a different gearing ratio. Now we have our drop gears installed, and it changes the whole gearing ratio throughout the entire car, which is really, really good for drag racing. And the other thing that we did was that we added a bead rolled lip on both of these charge pipes right here, so you can kind of see that there's like a little bit of a bulge right there for the clamp. That's to hold those on there in boost conditions. They're going to hold on a little bit better. Helps clamps keep a good grip on them. So this next one's going to spoil a little bit of stuff coming up in the future, but shifter position has been moved. What we just saw was Oscar moving the shifter position. So the shifter used to be about 4 inches back. It used to be right about here. And the problem was depending on the seat. So if you had a Huracan seat in here, it was no problem to hit the shifts at our previous position. But once we put a race seat in here that had shoulder bolstering and hip bolstering, your arm kind of tended to get caught. I think it's mainly the shoulder bolstering right here. When you would go to hit the lower gears, your arm would get caught. So what we did was we took the shifter and the whole shifter linkage and the whole mechanism, and we slid it forward 4 inches and then bolted it right back in. And then all that work leads us to the center console, which I'm so excited to show you guys the finished product of. I think this came off really, really, really good. We, Oscar put a lot of time and effort into this, and actually during the process of this, I showed up and we were all working on this a lot, and he nailed it with the shifter position, which is really great. And then built this really cool surround for it and exposed the gated shifter, which we really wanted to show off in this car. And it's like, it looks beautiful. It looks so awesome, and it's really good for driving too, because honestly when you're first learning a gated shifter, it's really good to be able to see it. So this new center console piece is one piece that goes back from the back of your arm all the way here forward, surrounds the gated shifter, and then runs up to here. And as I jump into the car, I can show you through it a little bit more. Now we had our switch panel originally was kind of up here. It was carbon fiber. Some people remember from the SEMA kind of like pressure build that we just did it in carbon fiber, and we actually had to glue it in there, and we're like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to have a nice metal switch panel that we can unbolt and take off if we need to do any troubleshooting, anything like that. We want to be able to pop this whole thing off. So Oscar rebuilt it all in aluminum, which we eventually wrapped in a vinyl wrap. We were going to do it in a leather like this, but the leather was fighting us left and right, and the vinyl wrap is really nice because it's really durable, and it was really, really easy. So if we need to change it up or anything, it's pretty good solution. So we kept all the things that are going to help out with the Lamborghini things. So this is Lamborghini climate control. So this is going to be all of our power for our fans and stuff like that. This is the screen that tells us what's going on with our climate control. It does a lot of engine oil pressure, oil temp, and stuff like that when it's a normal Lamborghini, but also as soon as you start fiddling with this, that screen starts telling you what's going on. And then we have our main Lamborghini switch panel, which is our windows. Those are important. Our emergency blinkers. And I think the rest of this stuff is dead. So once we got that all set up, the next big thing is managing the wiring. Now, wiring is not too extravagant, but all these switches are very important. There's a lot of wiring to do from running to the back, to the front, to the ECU, to the up front, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But I want to show you through the whole system. So this is our main power switch right here. This controls everything. So once you hit that on, everything's hot. And then we have this switch, which is our ECU. So you can hear our fuel pumps running. You can see our Haltech dashboard is gonna, well, it was just on a second ago. There we go. It does a little splash screen and then it comes back. So that turns on our Haltech dash and turns on our Haltech ECU. So this is kind of the ECU on off. And this one, which we had trouble with before SEMA, but we got it nailed now. Boom, that's the Lamborghini stuff. So our emergency lights are still a problem because the car still thinks it's crashed, which we will figure out eventually. But so you can see now that the Lamborghini climate control's on, that our heaters and our stuff are all activated and everything's good to go like that. This one's not used right now. And this one's pretty cool. So I shut everything off right now, but a lot of you guys commented that I should use a momentary switch, a switch that goes back to center for the air system. So that's what we did actually. So this switch, when you push it up, it goes back to center. When you push it down, it goes back to center. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out and have Kyle actuate the switch with all the power on and show you what it does. So while Kyle's on his way here, I didn't really film much of this because I was just kind of working on it on my own. What we did was we installed two massive 300 amp relays here and here, and we used our 3D printed blocks to manage Lamborghini power stuff, and then our main power distribution block for stuff that all gets power. We did a nice clean wiring job on all of this, and it all gets sent from the signal from that one switch. So when I hit Lamborghini stuff, it throws power from the mains all the way to and through all that stuff, which is really slick and really tight and clean. So once we got the whole front end sorted, the back end kind of sorts out the ECU and all the other stuff to manage the engine. The front end was managing the Lamborghini stuff, as I call it, which is things like windows, headlights, other stuff like that. Once we got that all sorted, we went ahead and installed the air pump system. And that leads back to the momentary switch, which I was talking about earlier. So Kyle, go ahead and turn on main power, and then ECU power, and Lambo stuff power. Boom, Lambo stuff power is on, so you can see, you can kill our... Eventually what we're gonna do is we're gonna wire the blinkers completely into the paddle shifters. We just haven't had time to do this yet. So now go ahead and hit the momentary switch up. So that momentary switch up activates our airbags, and that's gonna raise our car up. And then you can see it's lifting just like we wanted to. And then go ahead and hit down. And then the down switch lowers her back down, which is really good. So that's getting in and out of driveways. Maybe, I don't think we'll really need it, depending. We took the whole front splitter off because we're like in drag race mode right now, because we're getting ready for that type of stuff. So that whole front splitter's off. But if we did need it, that's how we would do it. So since I did mention drag racing, I feel like I should update you guys kind of on a pretty unfortunate series of events, which has been a big bummer for us. So originally we were gonna get this thing dyno tuned, and then we're going down to Rob Dom's place, and we're gonna go drive around, have some fun at Willow Springs. Rob then like sucked in a bunch of aluminum into his 4-rotor, and it's not quite ready yet to go. So then we were gonna send it out to Cletus's place to do some stuff when myself and Tavarish have a challenge happening out in Florida. And unfortunately, we didn't get the car ready in time to get on the transport truck to make it there, which is a bummer. But we still have time to do the dyno, which is gonna be cool, and that's gonna be the next episode. So I'm kind of bummed. We're not gonna be drag racing this thing in the really immediate future. It might be a month from now, which I know is a bummer, and I apologize. But let me know what you guys think. We might try and make it out for Cletus and Cars. There's one in April, and we could ship this car out there. It's extremely expensive, but I think it might be worth it, because I mean, the car's gotta go out there, and then I gotta fly out there, and then might as well bring Kyle and Oscar too. I mean, why the hell not? But if enough of you guys are gonna be there and you think it's something that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments. It would be a really fun thing to do. But even before that, if the weather permits, the drag strips here will open and we will get to make some passes. The unfortunate news that I've learned is with the level of safety that we have built into this thing, we only get to run, once we beat an 11.5, once we get past an 11.5, our transmission is no longer good. It's not allowed to run that speed. And then we don't have enough roll cage stuff and a bunch of other problems, and it's just like, meh. That's why I've been trying to go to Florida, because they have a few less regulations. Anyways, on the side of safety, let me explain what we've done to upgrade our safety system. So this harness bar is pretty nuts, and I'm very happy about how this thing turned out. And I helped Oscar design it, and he built it out for us. And so the whole time that we were building this, we were trying to reach the clock to be able to bring this thing basically to meet up with Cletus in Florida to hit the transport clock. So we're doing everything as fast as we could, and that's why we weren't able to even paint this thing. So actually we waxed it, which is kind of cool. So I don't know, it looks fun. So this harness bar comes in behind the seats right there, and then it goes back and it actually bolts into where the stock seat belt's bolted in there, because there's a really nice chassis bolt mount, and then it comes across and then it runs down to right here where the seat belts used to bolt in too. So you can see that we have our harness bolted in here, and then our bar comes up here, and then over here it ties into the original mount, and which runs across. And so you can see that our 4-point harnesses go right back to here to the bar. So that's what you have to have. You have to have a bar that's a little bit lower, or at least equal to the shoulder strap inserts for your harnesses, and then you have to have your mounting points and stuff like that. So we did that all. That's all completely legit, and that's basically like we're trying to make sure that we get good seat belts and safe seats, but we weren't going to install a 6-point roll cage. So once we had that harness bar in there, then we could mount our racing seats. So we actually stole these quirky seats out of the Datsun. We're looking for other seats that are a little bit slimmer so we can maybe fit our bodies in the Datsun. And so we did our seats and our harnesses, which are all like SFI approved, and everything's all good here. They're on sliding rails so they can move back and forth to hit the driver position better. It's just gonna make it better for like a daily drivable car too. And now we finally have safe harnesses throughout the car. So now that we've done all that stuff, we've changed the accessory system on the engine, we've changed the entire fuel system, and we've done reinstall of the engine and all the things that I told you before. It is finally time to start up this car. Let's see how it starts and it runs. Oscar, you can do the what's that called? You get the whatever. The honors. You can do the honors. You get the honors. What we're doing is we're monitoring everything here on the computer, make sure that everything's going well once he gets it fired up. All signs point to go, so keep the clutch in, and then once it's fired up, you can slowly let it out in case our transmission modifications keep it in gear. That'd be bad. You'd knock over my Truly. I'd be pissed. Fire away, buddy.
3, 2, 1.
RPM's good, wideband's rich. Try backing out of the shot and going forward again. I'm gonna leave the laptop on the roof and do it nice and slow. we're doing is high revs to see if our fan belt modifications are gonna hold. Okay. Yeah. Fan belt's still on. All right, I think we can kill it. All right.
That is loud.
Yeah, at the high RPMs, man, to test our fan belt, well, it's not really a fan belt, it's just our, what's it called? Alternator belt. It's an alternator belt at this point. Yeah, that was loud. All right, so that's really good news. The car is still running strong. Everything's functioning. Our switch panel system's working perfectly for the power up of the ECU and the start, priming the fuel pumps. It fired right up. And the other thing that we wanted to test is after we changed all those things in the transmission to make sure that for one, it would start in neutral and wasn't like stuck in a weird gear or anything like that. So it started in neutral, and then we had Oscar roll it backwards and then roll it forwards. We really, really wanted to have this be the first real street test drive, but unfortunately we're in Oregon and it has been raining every single day for like a week. So we were trying to find a window where it wasn't raining and we just couldn't find one. So we just backed it up, pulled it back forward. This is definitely a dry weather car. This is not a rain car. So we just didn't want to gunk up everything up here with the rain and stuff like that. Although it would probably be fine. But anyways, didn't want to do that, especially not right before the dyno. So we backed it up, we pulled it back forward. The clutch is working good. Everything's working good. And then we had Oscar, I don't know if you guys could hear or not, but we had Oscar redline it a couple times to make sure our accessory belt is aligned properly and it's not going to throw the belts like we did like the second that we were trying to leave SEMA, and it did great. So its car's running great. That's great news. So with that all installed and tested, you know, we got our air rides, we can go up and down, we got our new seats, we got our harnesses, we got our shifter in the right position, we got our full electrical, like perfectly done as we designed it, and we got the engine running strong. We are ready for the dyno. So please stay tuned for the next episode. Tomorrow morning, we load this thing up on the truck. We're gonna head down to the tuners and we're gonna get this thing fully dyno tuned and lay down a serious horsepower number. We're aiming for 1,000. We may come up short for one reason or another, but I'm really, really hoping that we can hit 1,000 horsepower on this thing, which would just be totally insane. And then if we do that, I think it's time that we did the whole like you know, time lapse showing everybody from start to finish like how amazing like the transformation on this build has been. Shout out to Kyle and Oscar both for putting in all that hard work. A lot of it happened while I was gone and traveling, and it was really cool. Basically what's been happening is, you know, when I take this time out to travel, they were like, hey, we would love to keep working on the car. And I'm like, there's no reason you guys can't do that without me here. And it turned out great. So it's fun to come home to having something be in a lot better position than when we left it, and it was really, really cool, and everybody had a lot of fun working on it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please tune in for our next dyno episode. If you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you on the next one. Peace!